Good morning. Once again, welcome to Tech District ID. And today we are going to continue our series on tips from Pragmatic Developer and Robots. And we are continuing with tip 61 that says expensive tools don't produce better results, better designs, or we can say better results. In coding, sometimes we want to go for the most expensive tool. So, if it, for example, if you're building an infrastructural database, we want to look for that one that says, oh, it has it costs much, it has one TB terabyte and a lot of space, memory space. So we tend to go to that particular one, not looking at the CPU and other things it covers. So most times when we are programming or when we are designing or when we are even talking about architecture, we try to talk about the expensive one will be the first be in our list because we like it's expensive, it's going to be more secure, it's not it's because it's expensive, it will do better than the cheap one. So sometimes expensive tool doesn't produce better results and cheap tools doesn't produce the worst results. So it's your knowledge and your understanding and utilization. That's why they say the best tools is forged in the like by the best craftsman. So the person that forged the best tool is not the tool itself, it's the craftsman. Because how it's utilized that tool is what makes you feel like the tool is the best to use. 62 says organize a mind functionality, not a job functions. I this really hits hard because most times when we are working for people, we just want to please them or we want to do what the job role puts in place. We don't look about how our intellectual or our mind functionality. When you pick up a task or you pick up let me just say when you pick up a task, what how do you go about it? What runs in your mind about that task? What are you trying to achieve and how do you go about displaying it or how do you go about putting the twins together to achieve what you want to do? That is very significant. So don't just jump into a task because you want to get employee of the year or because you want to feel like, oh, I'm very fast at completing things. You really need to look at you really need to organize a mind functionality. You need to break down tasks properly. You need to ask the right questions. You need to understand the business logic. You need to understand the business context. You need to understand the user pain points. Pain. I didn't say pain. I said pain. Pain point about that particular services. What's the user complaining about? What does the user feel good about in that services? So you have to like put all this into consideration. 53 say test early, test often, test automatically. Most of us, when we develop tool, we don't test it. We just test once, and after that once, we push to production, and the user is complaining that this particular thing is flopping, and you, the developer, you our normal item or will I say our normal slogan is it works in my local. In your local you might be just carrying out one test or you might be carrying out five times, five different type of tests, but did you carry out the test the user is complaining about? You try to understand why the user is complaining about this thing. You try to understand what is your client's pain point, what are they complaining about, why does that tool frustrate them to use, and how could you have done it better? So as a developer, as a designer, as a product manager, whoever you are in the tech space, try to test often, test early and test automatically. Make sure at every release, at every single services you're implementing, there's already a series of tests that went on in the background. Tip 64 say code a little, test a little, meaning that as you're coding a functionality, just don't always just be pushing code that are not tested. Make sure at every line of code you wrote, there's a test, there's even a mental test that goes on in your head. So the mental test is the test of the assertion test of what you don't want to fail, what you feel like can fail if it's being done, if it's being used in a particular way. So when and for instance, whenever you see a test, a failed message, don't panic and say, "Oh, this is from this user. This user didn't use it so well." Try to now test again. Try to see what happened. Try to be a developer that is trying to ensure that the product is as satisfactory to the user as possible. You're not trying to make yourself look good. You're not trying to be like, oh, I'm the best developer out there. I can push 50 features in a night. I can code 10 hours non-stop. How often did all these features you push, how often do they not break? How often do a user complain and you go back and fix the issue? How often do you try to walk along in a user journey? So tip 65, which is the last tip for today. Next week will be the roundup of tips from Pragmatic Developer. So thank you so much for everyone that has been following this series. Like I think we started almost 4 to 5 months ago. I can't even remember when we started, but we're at tip 65, and every day we have been dropping five tips. No, every week we have been dropping five tips. So for everyone that has followed so far, thank you for the love, and thank you for your support. I'm always grateful. So coding ends done till all the test run. Your coding is not successful till all the test is being done to the user is satisfied, to the client is satisfied, and to you you're satisfied. Then that's when you can say, "Oh, I've finished this feature." So if feature is not done, see all the test runs. So let's build smarter. Thank you. Subscribe, share to your family and friends and anyone. And thank you once again for always tuning into this channel and for always watching my videos and for always commenting. I see your love and I appreciate it. Thank you all.